oxidation state. Oxidation state. What is oxidation state? It is the charge attained by the element after losing or gaining the electrons, right? Charge attained by the element after losing or gaining the electron, by which element is going to turn into an ion. These are the electropositive elements because those are metallic. That is why they have tendency to lose electron rather than gain electron. Therefore, they exist only in the positive state. This metal exists only in the positive state. Hence, we have to discuss oxidation state, which always will be positive for d block elements. Now, how to discuss this? I will write the oxidation state of these elements here in front of that. To write the oxidation state, we have to remember two rules. That is, least oxidation state is going to be the number of electrons in 4s orbital. The number of electrons present in 4s orbital is the least oxidation state that these elements can exhibit. Whereas, the highest oxidation state is the number of unpaired electrons. You can say number of electrons of 4s orbital plus number of unpaired electrons of 3d orbital. So, it is the sum of number of 4s electrons and number of unpaired electrons in the 3d orbital. Let us check this. Hence, scandium, in case of scandium, what should be the least oxidation state? Number of s electrons, that is 2, hence it will be plus 2. Highest will be number of s orbital electrons plus unpaired electrons in the d orbital. How many unpaired? It has only one electron, that also unpaired, therefore it should be plus 3. But you must remember here, scandium does not exhibit plus 2 state. Usually these elements exhibit variable oxidation state. This is one of the main features of 3d block elements or d block elements. These elements exhibit variable oxidation state. Variable in the sense they have different oxidation state. What is the cause for this different oxidation state? The cause is the n-1 d orbital and ns orbital have almost nearer energy. Their energy is close to each other. Okay. Therefore, if some electrons can be lost from s orbital, with somewhat similar energy electron can be lost even from the d orbital, that is the n-1 d orbital during bond formation. Now, for what these electrons are lost? Obviously for the formation of bond with other element, right? That is with the non-metallic element. These metals form bond with the non-metallic element. During the formation of such bonds, electrons are lost from both ns orbital and n-1 d orbital, showing different oxidation state. Different number of electrons can be lost here based on the nature of the element with which it combines. So, what is the reason for variable oxidation state exhibited by d block element? The main reason is less difference in the energy of n-1 d orbital and ns orbital, which causes loss of electrons from both ns orbital and n-1 d orbital during bonding. So, during bonding, electrons can be lost from ns orbital and even from n-1 d orbital, so that these elements can exhibit variable oxidation state. Variable oxidation state exception, one exception is scandium. Scandium can give only plus 3 oxidation state, not plus 2, because after losing one electron here, how much it remains? 4s1. Okay. Keeping that 4s1 electron, because the d has only one electron, is not stable. That is why all the electrons will be lost altogether. So, it exhibits only plus 3 state. This is one of the question, maybe 1 mark question or the competitive question also. Which is the element does not exhibit variable oxidation state? If you get some other options, then you can take scandium here. Then, according to the rule, as we said, the least oxidation state should be the electrons, number of electrons in the 4s. So, when you see all these show plus 2 oxidation state, this is plus 2 least, then highest will be 4s orbital electron plus 3d unpaired electron. These two are unpaired, so total of 4, hence it will include plus 2, plus 3 and plus 4. Here up to +5, that is +2, +3, +4 and +5. Here chromium, it should start from +1, +2, all the 5 electrons are unpaired, right. So 5 + 1 makes 6 up to +6, +4, +5, +6. Then manganese starts from 2, +2, then up to 5 + 2, that is up to 7, +3, +4, +5, +6, +7. Then comes to iron. It is minimum is +2. What is the maximum? Is it 6 + 2, 8? No. Unpaired electrons in the d orbital to be considered. If d6, what is d6 system? d6 in the sense, if that is the d orbital, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 6th electron is here, right? These are the d6. Then how many unpaired electron it has? 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 4 are the unpaired electron. In d6 system, there are 4 unpaired electrons. So 4 + 2 makes 6. Therefore, highest should be 6. +4, +5 and +6. In d7, how many unpaired electrons? d7 means here, that is the 7th electron. How many unpaired remains now? 3 unpaired electrons. So 3 + 2 makes 5. Hence here +2, +3, +4 and +5. Same as in nickel, d8. d8 will make 1 more electron here. Unpaired remains are only 2. Hence 2 + 2 makes 4, that is +2, +3 and +4. In copper, how many electrons? S orbital has +1, but unpaired electron in the d orbital 0. There is no unpaired electron in the d orbital. So is it only +1 oxidation state copper exhibit? No. Exceptionally copper exhibit +2. Whereas if you analyze, +2 oxidation state is even stabler than first one. Reason I will give for that. Then zinc has only +2 because there is no other option. Zinc exhibit only +2 oxidation state. So these are the variable oxidation state theoretically that these elements can exhibit. Some among them are not possible due to some experimental reason, like chromium. Chromium can exhibit +1, +2, +3, +4 is not seen in chromium, +5 is not seen, whereas manganese also can show these oxidation state, not higher oxidation states. Iron can show +2 and +3, +4, +5, +6 are not seen in iron. Cobalt also +4, +5 oxidation state are not seen in cobalt. These are some oxidation state which are not experimentally possible. This is just the theoretical assumption that these all oxidation states are possible by these elements. Clear? The point to be noted here, few more points to be noted. The question could be asked is, which is the element in the 3D series has highest oxidation state? Which is that? You can see here, that is manganese. Manganese has highest oxidation state of +7. Give example for such a compound of manganese, for which you can give KMnO4. You know the way of calculating the oxidation state. Positive one is present on potassium. Oxygen makes 4 into -2. So 1 + X -8 makes 0. Hence it has +7 oxidation state, manganese. Even in manganese heptoxide, Mn2O7, manganese heptoxide. These two are the compounds in which manganese has highest oxidation state. This is in the 3D series. If you see the other series, osmium, ruthenium in the 4D and osmium in the 5D, they can exhibit +8 oxidation state. If the question is in the periodic table, which element has highest oxidation state, then you can mention ruthenium or osmium which has +8, but in the 3D series it is the manganese exhibiting highest oxidation state of +7. That to be noted. Then few more things, like if these elements are in lower oxidation state, they are ionic. These are ionic in the lower oxidation state. In the higher oxidation state, higher oxidation state, they form covalent compound. For example, consider manganese itself, say manganese sulfate. Manganese sulfate has manganese in the +2 state, sulfate has -2, therefore manganese in the +2 state. Manganese sulfate is ionic in nature, it is an ionic salt. Whereas potassium permanganate, KMnO4, where manganese has +7 state, this is covalent. That is example for this point I said, in the lower oxidation state, that is manganese in the +2 state is ionic. In the higher oxidation state, that turns to be covalent. Even iron, Fe2, FeSO4 or ferric sulfate, both ferric sulfate and ferrous sulfate, both are ionic. Fe3 or Fe2SO4 tris, both are ionic because their oxidation state are quite small, right, +2 and +3. Here iron has +2 state, here iron has +3 state, quite smaller oxidation state, therefore those are ionic in nature. That is the second point to be noted here. Then as I said, copper, the case of copper, why copper, even if the rule says copper can give only +1 oxidation state, it even shows +2 oxidation state, and in fact cupric ion Cu2 plus is stabler than cuprous ion. Cu +1 is called as cuprous, cupric is stabler than cuprous ion. This is a stability. What is the reason for this? If you see the ionization potential, copper configuration, if you see the configuration of copper, it is 3D10 4s1 after the argon configuration, 3D10 4s1. Obviously removal of one electron is very easy, right? So ionization potential 1 is very smaller than ionization potential 2. Do you agree? Because removal of second electron, it has to be removed from the d orbital, which is already completely filled. So second ionization potential is very high, which makes, if this is the only factor that decides the formation of this cation, then Cu plus would have been stabler than cupric ion. Do you get this? If ionization potential is the only factor that decides the stability of these ions, then this order would have been reversed. Cuprous would have been stabler than cupric. Due to this, removal of one electron is easy, so formation of cuprous is easy. That means Cu plus 1 would have been stabler than Cu plus 2, but this is wrong. This is wrong because ionization potential is not the only factor that decides the stability. There are a few more factors, among which hydration enthalpy is one. Hydration enthalpy. Hydration enthalpy is the energy change that takes place when 1 mole of any ion gets hydrated, that is accumulated by water molecule. Okay? In case of hydration enthalpy, it is hydration enthalpy is directly proportional to, or it is inversely proportional to size. I can say hydration enthalpy is proportional to 1 by size. Smaller the size, higher is the hydration potential. Okay? Smaller the size, higher is the hydration potential. Among cuprous and cupric, which is small? Size, if you see, higher the positive charge, smaller is the size. Cu2 plus is smaller than Cu plus 1. This is size. So hydration enthalpy of which one is more? Cu2 plus. Hydration enthalpy of Cu2 plus is more than Cu plus 1. That clear? Cu2 plus is smaller, that is why it has higher hydration enthalpy. Now hydration enthalpy is so high that it can overcome the second ionization potential, which is required to lose 2 electrons by copper. Cupric ions hydration enthalpy is so high that it can overcome the second ionization potential, which is high, in order to lose 2 electrons in order to form a cupric ion. That is why cupric ion is easily formed rather than cuprous ion. That is why cupric ion is stabler than cuprous ion. So in order to summarize this, the formation of cation is based on ionization potential and hydration potential. Ionization potential for cupric ion is high, but hydration potential of cupric ion is so high that it can overcome this ionization potential 2 of cupric ion in order to form a stable cupric ion. That is, cupric ion formed is stabler than cuprous ion. It's clear? That is another point to be remembered here. Then to tell few more things, like these elements can even show zero oxidation state in some of the compounds. Zero oxidation state, like the compound of nickel with the CO. This is called as nickel tetracarbonyl. Nickel tetracarbonyl. This is a type of coordination compound. Coordination compound. Coordination compound, and on this you are going to learn one full chapter, coordination compound, but little basic things I would like to explain here. This is CO, it is not carbon monoxide. These type of groups are called as ligands in coordination chemistry. Ligands. The function of these ligands is to donate pair of electrons. If I draw the structure of this nickel tetracarbonyl, nickel tetracarbonyl, carbonyl CO donates pair of electron to nickel. There will be 4 carbonyl ligands from which each donate one pair of electron to the nickel to form the coordination bond. That is why these compounds are called as coordination compounds, right? In this case, the oxidation state of nickel is 0 because carbonyl also has 0 charge on it. Both have 0 charge, so it is a neutral type of coordination compound. Hence, what I would like to say here is some of these elements can exhibit even 0 oxidation state, which is not listed in this, but they can still exhibit 0 oxidation state in coordination compounds containing carbonyl as ligand. Carbonyl as ligand. Few more example for this is iron also can form such compound with carbonyl. It is CO5. This is called as iron pentacarbonyl. Same as that molybdenum can form a compound such as molybdenum hexacarbonyl. In all these compounds, like here iron has 0 oxidation state, here molybdenum has 0 oxidation state. So, these elements can exhibit even 0 oxidation state in compounds where they are along with the ligands like carbonyl. And another term I would like to introduce here, this carbonyl is called as a pi acceptor ligand. The meaning of this you will learn in the coordination compound chapter. What is the meaning of pi acceptor ligand? Carbonyl is a type of pi acceptor ligand. Pi it is in terms of pi bond, you know, sigma bond, pi bond. In that way, it is a type of pi acceptor ligand with which some of these elements can form coordination compound in the 0 oxidation state. These all points are under oxidation state itself. One more point to be discussed here is like in p block elements, when p block elements is taught, you have learnt the inert pair effect, right? Inert pair effect. I just want to connect it to the d block elements. Inert pair effect is seen only in p block elements. What is inert pair effect? In p block, the heavier elements, that is the elements at the bottom of the group. In a group, elements in the bottom of the group, due to the inert pair effect, show lower oxidation state. Lower oxidation state is stable in them. State is stable. In p block element, due to the inert pair effect, in the lower elements, that is the heavier elements which exist at the lowest position of the periodic table, they prefer lower oxidation state. But in contrary to this, in d block, the heavier elements in each group prefers higher oxidation state. Higher oxidation state. To give some example, let us say the elements of the 6th group. Which are the elements of the 6th group? Chromium from 3D, then molybdenum and tungsten. This is 3D, 4D and 5D. 3D series, 4D series and 5D series elements. Let us check the compound is this. Chromium forms CrO3, is called as chromium sesquioxide. Have you heard about this? It is a good oxidizing agent. CrO3, chromium oxide, is a good oxidizing agent. What is the reason for this? What is the oxidation state of chromium here? X minus 6 equal to 0 has plus 6 state. Chromium can change from plus 6 to plus 3 easily. Where it undergoes, during it acts as an oxidizing agent, it can get reduced. Oxidizing agent always gets reduced, right? Chromium can get reduced to Cr3 plus. Whereas if you check the oxide of molybdenum, say MoO3, is not an oxidizing agent. This is an oxidizing agent. CrO3 is a good oxidizing agent, whereas molybdenum oxide or even WO3, tungsten oxide, are not oxidizing agent. What is the reason for this? They prefer to be in the plus 6 oxidation state rather than in the plus 3, because I said here D block elements, in D block the heavier elements, which are the heavier elements down the group? The elements are called as heavier elements, prefer higher oxidation state rather than lower oxidation state. So what is the application of that? Due to this, chromium, which is a lighter element in D block in a given group, prefer to have plus 3 state rather than plus 6 state. So it prefer to get reduced from plus 6 to plus 3, by which it can act as an oxidizing agent. Whereas the heavier elements like molybdenum or tungsten, in their plus 6 oxidation state itself are stable. So they do not get reduced to plus 3 state, hence they do not act as oxidizing agent. What is an oxidizing agent? It oxidizes other element or other compound by which it by itself gets reduced. So this molybdenum or tungsten, which are already in the plus 6 state, are not ready to get reduced to the plus 3 state, because it is said here D block elements, heavier element prefer higher oxidation state rather than lower oxidation state. So CrO3 is a good oxidizing agent. You have seen the CrO3 as a good oxidizing agent in the oxidation of alcohols to aldehyde. You have learnt it in the preparation of aldehydes, right? Primary and secondary alcohols can be oxidized by CrO3 to give aldehydes, correct? That is seen in the oxidation of alcohols to form aldehydes. Therefore, CrO3 is a good oxidizing agent. These all points to be learnt under oxidation state. Next property that we are going to discuss is the color of transition element. In that, color of 3D series elements. We already know that these elements, either in the solid state or their and even their salt solution of their salt, they exhibit some of the other color. We are going to see what is the reason for the substance to be in colored state, that is explained under color of transition elements. The reason for the color of this transition element is just the presence of unpaired electrons. Unpaired electrons, and these electrons show a type of transition called as DD transition. This is a new term for you, which I am going to explain the meaning of DD transition. So when one more question is asked, why given D block element solution, maybe copper sulfate or cobalt chloride, why these solutions are colored? The reason for this is transition of unpaired electron, or you can say DD transition of unpaired electron present in the salt solution. In case the salt solution does not have these unpaired electron, then such salt solutions are colorless. The main example is zinc sulfate. Zinc sulfate salt or its solution is colorless. Why? Zinc sulfate has zinc in the +2 state, right? Zinc sulfate, zinc has +2 state. What is its configuration in zinc +2? It is 3d10, 4s2, sorry, 4s0. Zinc +2 configuration. Is there an unpaired electron in the d orbital? No, all electrons are paired up. Therefore, zinc sulfate does not have any color either in the solid state or in the aqueous solution. Okay? That is why unpaired electron which undergoes DD transition are important in order to exhibit to color on these salt or salt solutions, right. We will see what is the meaning of this. Before that, when we assume a solution of copper sulfate, like copper sulfate, what is the color of copper sulfate solution? Yes, exactly, it is blue color. When copper sulfate solution is taken, white light when falls on this, say this is a copper sulfate solution, when white light falls on it, this copper sulfate, if white light falls, copper sulfate absorbs certain radiation. In case of copper sulfate, it absorbs red radiation. It absorbs red color radiation and transmits remaining color, which is called as complementary color to that of red color. Now, this complementary color is a mixture of remaining all 6 radiation except red from the VIBGYOR spectrum. Complementary color, there are 7 colors in white light, right? Among which one is absorbed by copper sulfate. Now, remaining, which all are those? In VIBGYOR, remove R, red. Then remaining 6 colors makes a color called as complementary color. So, complementary color is a mixture of remaining 6 radiation once one color radiation is removed, correct? So, that is a complementary color. Now, what is complementary to red? It is blue. Complementary color to red is blue. Therefore, copper sulfate, when we see from the side, it exhibits blue color. That is the reason. So, what is the reason now? Copper sulfate, when white light falls on it, it absorbs red color radiation and transmits the remaining radiation called as its complementary color, which is blue to red. Same as that, another example if you consider cobalt chloride, say the solution of cobalt chloride. When white light falls on this cobalt chloride absorbs blue color radiation and it transmits remaining color, that is called as complementary color, which is red. Red is complementary color to blue. So, what is the color of cobalt chloride? Is it blue or red? Cobalt chloride is red in color, because when we see cobalt chloride, we can see only the complementary color to that of blue, which is red. We can see cobalt chloride in the form of red color, as copper sulfate can be seen in the form of blue color, cobalt chloride can be seen in the form of red color. That is when the solution of any salt in which unpaired electrons are present in the metal or metal ion absorbs one of the radiation from the white light and it transmits remaining colors in the form of complementary color, and that is the color which we see the solution of that metal salt or the solution as. It's clear? Now, we have to see the reason for this, why all these are happening in the solution of copper sulfate or cobalt chloride. Does copper sulfate contain any unpaired electron? In copper sulfate, copper is present in the +2 state, right? Copper is present in the +2 state. +2 state configuration, what is the +2 state configuration? 3d9 4s0. 3d9 has one unpaired electron, correct? 3d9 configuration has one unpaired electron, and this is the unpaired electron which is responsible for the color of copper sulfate. Same as that, in cobalt chloride, cobalt 3+ also has unpaired electron which is responsible for its color. We will go in detail of this color. Some concept which comes in coordination compound has to be made clear here, as you have not still learnt the coordination compound chapter. In order to give the detailed explanation for color of the D block elements, I need to take some basics from coordination compound chapter, which is in fact not required for 3D or D block element, but in order to understand, you need to know this basics. That is, in d orbital, there are 5 d orbitals, right? D xy, d yz, d xz, then all remaining are x square minus y square and d z square. These are the 5 d orbitals in the d subshell. These 5 d orbitals, are these with the same energy or different energy? These are with same energy. Now these are called as degenerate. What is the meaning of degenerate orbitals? These are the orbitals with the same energy. In the d subshell, 5 d orbitals, these are the 5 d orbitals, have same energy, and these orbitals have same energy until those are present on a metal atom. Okay, these orbitals until are present on a metal atom, they have same energy. For example, let me consider some metal atom here in the isolated state, or metal ion also in the isolated state. Metal atom or metal ion in the isolated state, they have these orbital 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 d orbital, xy, yz, xz, x square minus y square and z square. I am showing like this. These are the degenerate orbital. Now, if this metal in the isolated state or metal ion in the isolated state forms some salt, assume it forms some salt like some metal chloride, say some metal chloride, it is forming some salt, then these d orbitals energy will be slightly increased. Still those remain as d orbital, degenerate d orbital. These were degenerate d orbital in the isolated metal atom or ion, and when this atom or ion forms some metal salt, degeneracy is still there, but their energy will be slightly increased. But the case where this metal forms a coordination compound, when such a metal salt is put into water, assume it is put into water, it forms some coordination compound. Say this is copper sulphate, CuSO4. Copper sulphate is put into water, it forms some complex like Cu, H2O 6 times 2 plus, that is an aqua complex of copper. Here this water is called as ligand. This we had slightly in the earlier topic, ligand. Water is called as ligand. That is an aqua ligand. We call it as aqua. In this case, these 5 d orbitals which were degenerate now split into 2 parts. They split into 2 parts. One part is said to be with the 3 orbitals, another part is said to be with the 2 orbitals. These are d xy, d yz and d xz, whereas these are dx square minus y square and dz square, and these are called as T2g and these are called as Eg. Those are spectrochemical terms. You need not worry about these terms, those are called as spectrochemical terms. But now the case is in, this is called as octahedral field. Octahedral field. Octa because here water is present as ligand, 6 water molecule, it makes this complex as octahedral molecule. It gives a shape as octahedral shape. That is why this is called as octahedral field. And such type of fields are called as crystal field. Crystal field. Detail of this you will be learning in the coordination compound chapter, but whatever is required for me to link it to the 3D series elements, I am teaching here. Okay. Now, I do not want all this part, I just gave an introduction for you to understand. I want this part, only this part. What happens to copper sulphate when dipped into water? You know copper sulphate, it has blue color. Why that blue color is seen when copper sulphate is present in water? You know copper sulphate anhydrous, does it have any color? Copper sulphate anhydrous is colorless, but copper sulphate when absorbs moisture or put into water, it suddenly changes into blue. The reason for this I am giving here. Assume this is anhydrous copper sulphate where d orbitals are degenerate. Now it absorbs water or you put it into water, then it becomes an aqueous solution of copper sulphate. In that, copper sulphate takes this form. This is +2 ion, sulfate will remain outside as SO4 ion. SO4 you can write like this, then this will be the complex. And this is this octahedral complex in which these 5d orbitals split into two parts, T2g set and EG set. T2g set has dxy, dyz and dxz orbitals. EG set has dx square minus y square and dz square orbitals. Hope this much is clear. Now with this I am going to connect the color of this copper sulfate solution. I do not want this part, I will keep the part which is required for our discussion in this chapter. Now we have two sets of d orbital here. If it is copper, the solution of copper sulfate, copper has +2 state. What is the configuration? D9, Cu +1 +2 has 3d9 configuration, where it has one unpaired electron. One unpaired electron. So this is a state of copper 2 plus, where it has one unpaired electron I have shown here, that is in the ground state. Assume on this white light falls. This is a solution of copper sulfate in which d orbitals have these type of configuration. One electron is present, one unpaired electron. There are unpaired electrons, 9 electrons are present. So I am showing only one unpaired electron because paired electrons have nothing to do with the color. We want only the unpaired electron. The unpaired electron which is present, now when white light falls on this, if this energy difference between T2g and EG orbital, assume as delta O. Delta O stands for the crystal field splitting energy in the octahedral field. This O stands for octahedral, that is why energy difference. If delta O equal to h nu, if some white light falls on this with the delta O equal to h nu, you know what is h? H is the Planck's constant, nu is the frequency of the radiation which is going to be absorbed by this ion which has one unpaired electron. Then the electron from this lower energy level, this is a lower energy and this is a higher energy, T2g and EG orbital, this unpaired electron is going to excite to the higher energy level by absorbing frequency corresponding to the radiation. If it is copper sulfate, corresponding to red radiation. Frequency, this nu will be the radiation corresponding to red color, that will be absorbed by this copper ion, cupric ion, by which the electron gets excited to the higher energy level. Now what would happen to the radiation which comes out of that solution? That is without red color, which will be a mixture of remaining 6 color, hence copper sulfate looks to be blue in color. That is the reason for this. It's clear? Now from all this, what I want is the first statement in the beginning of this color of the d block elements I have explained why these elements or the solution of these elements exhibit color. The reason is D transition, DD transition of unpaired electrons. Now what is DD transition? Are these one set of d orbital? Yes, called as T2g set. These are another set of d orbital called as EG set. So unpaired electron from the T2g set is getting excited to the EG set. So one of the d set of orbitals to another d set of orbitals, which is called as DD transition. This is from T2g to EG. The electron is exciting to T2g to EG level. That is why the solution exhibit color. Any of the elements, if has unpaired electron in its salt solution, then only it can exhibit color. One more question could be on this, why the color of or what is the reason for the color of d block elements is salt, that is DD transition of unpaired electron. Now we have to see here which all elements or which all salt with ions can exhibit color. Is cupric ion, salt of cupric ion colored? Is the salt of cupric ion colored? Cupric ion has configuration 3D 10 4s0. It has no unpaired electrons, so this is colorless, no color. In the beginning I said zinc 2+, Zinc 2 plus salt solution can be zinc chloride, zinc sulfate. Configuration is 3D10, 4s0. Is it colored? Yes, no color because no unpaired electron. Scandium, scandium 3 plus. What is the configuration of scandium? 3D1, 4s2, right? 3 plus makes 3D0, 4s0. 0 electron, no unpaired electron. Hence, it also does not have any color. This is how you will identify the salt of any metal ion, whether colored or not. These all are not colored solution. Suppose the solution of some other element, if we consider iron solution, ferric sulfate or ferrous sulfate, FeSO4 or Fe2SO4 tries. Does it have any color? Yes, this has color because iron is present in the +2 state, iron in the +3 state. Here it is D6, here D5. They have unpaired electrons. Presence of unpaired electrons cause color. So, these all are colored solution. This is how one can analyze a given solution is colored or not. One more point to be seen here is the color of the solution depends on some more factor. The factors on which color depends. Factors on which the color depends. One is their oxidation state. Oxidation state. As example, we can say vanadium. Vanadium in the +2 state, vanadium +3 state, vanadium +4 state, and vanadium +5 state. Identify the ion which is colorless, if that is the question. Identify these which is colorless. Vanadium, scandium 21, titanium 22, vanadium 23. Atomic number is 23, so it is D3, 4D3, 3D3, 4s2. Vanadium +5. What is the configuration? These 5 electrons are lost, so 3D0. So, is it color? No. Vanadium +5 is colorless. Whereas, vanadium +2 is violet. This is green. This is blue. Look at the difference in the color of their salt. Hence, factors that decides color. One of the factor is oxidation state. Based on their oxidation state, the metal salt change its color. Metal salt solution changes its color. Among the vanadium salts, vanadium salt with vanadium in the +5 state is colorless because no unpaired electron. So, DD transition of this unpaired electron is not possible in this. That is one of the factor which causes the color. Right? There is another factor on which color depends. Again, it is from the coordination compound chapter, that is ligand, strength of the ligand. Strength of the ligand. In the sense, I have given one example of copper. Say copper has, I'll take 2 examples of copper solution. This is copper in water. How do you get copper in water? This is copper sulfate put into water. It forms an aqua complex. It is a copper sulfate aqua complex. Or another example, copper with ammonia, NH3. This is a complex of copper in ammonia. How this is obtained? Copper sulfate is dipped in ammonia. There are 2 solvents, water and ammonia. Once copper forms such a coordination compound, these now are called as ligand. Here water is the ligand, here ammonia. Ammonia now is called as amine. Amine is the ligand. All these things you are going to learn in your coordination compound chapter. Okay? Just I want to give this example. Copper present in water, copper present in ammonia as a solvent. This is a copper sulfate put into water, copper sulfate put into ammonia. What should be the color of copper in water? You know copper sulfate when dissolved in water, it will be pale blue. Color of this solution would be pale blue, whereas color of this solution is deep blue. Deep blue in the sense dark blue. Is there any effect of these ligands on the color of the solution? Of course. So, color of the solution depends on strength of the ligand. I'll tell you this amine NH3 is a strong ligand than water. It is a strength. Strength of the ligand is in the order. Amine is a strong ligand, water is a weak ligand when compared to amine. So, with the strong ligand, the color also will be intense. If the metal is present with the strong ligand, the color will be intense. If it is present with the weak ligand, the color will be light. And the reason for this, why it causes such difference, you are going to learn in the coordination compound chapter. For this D block elements, these many reasons are sufficient. It's fine. This is regarding the color of coordination compound. That is the sixth property. This is the sixth property. We have discussed 5 properties before. This is the sixth property regarding color of the coordination compound. Hence, to summarize in this, what all we have learnt in color of coordination compound, mainly the reason for color, the coordination D block elements exhibit. It is not on coordination compound, it is on D block elements, color of D block elements. The main reason is DD transition of unpaired electron. What is DD transition? When metal ion is present in the octahedral field, which is called as crystal field, that is along with the ligand, the metal d orbital, which were earlier degenerate, split into 2 sets, which are those T2G set and EG set. Hence, if an unpaired electron is present in such a metal ion along with the ligand, the unpaired electron gets excited by absorbing a certain radiation from the white light, isn't it? Which causes that metal salt solution to transmit the remaining 6 colors in the form of complementary color, and that is what we are seeing that solution's color as, isn't it? For all these, the reason is unpaired electrons DD transition. Hence, when question is asked on these topics, it will be usually 2-mark question, reason for any of the properties. What is the reason for color of D block elements, or what is the reason for atomic size variation or ionization potential variation? All these reasons are important along with the fact. It's clear? That is regarding the color of the D block elements. And one more thing we discussed here, the factor that affects the color. One of the factors could be the charge, oxidation state. Another factor is if it is the coordination compound that the metal forms, then it is the strength of the ligand. And one more interesting thing here you must note is most of the coordination compound contains metal from D block. Most of the coordination compounds contain metal, all are from D block. That is regarding the color of coordination